And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all.
Jake Paul's talking about fighting Gervonta Davis, who's 135 pounds. And then on the other hand, he's talking about fighting a 260 pound monster in Anthony Joshua. Listen, he's crazy enough to probably do it all if the money's right.
Just wanted to come in here and remind everybody that that bum couldn't beat me when I basically had a broken hand. I had one hand and he still lost. Jake Paul, I'm still here.
Anthony Joshua prepares with steady focus as he trains for the matchup with Jake Paul. His routines display strength work, movement drills, and calm confidence while he sharpens himself for the fight. Jake Paul also trains seriously on his end, trying to prove he can stand with a top-level fighter. The build-up shows both men working hard, creating curiosity about how this unusual and talked-about matchup will unfold.
Right, we mentioned earlier that Anthony Joshua still didn't have an opponent for his next fight, but he was thinking of still fighting before the end of the year. And we've got some breaking news for you now, because we're hearing that AJ is in talks with Jake Paul over a deal for a heavyweight fight in Miami next month. Of course, the YouTuber Paul has already fought the former heavyweight champion of the world, Mike Tyson, and beaten him. And he's now in talks with Anthony Joshua with a view to the two of them fighting in Miami next month. We'll keep you posted.
Anthony Joshua trains with full confidence inside his camp, knowing he carries the clear advantage over Jake Paul. Even with that belief, he works intensely each day, determined to prove a point. His mission is simple: step into the ring, dominate, and silence the noise and nonsense coming from Jake.
Yeah, just broke the news here a couple of minutes ago that Jake Paul will be fighting Anthony Joshua next month in December in Miami. As we all know, Jake Paul was set to have an exhibition actually this Friday against Gervonta Davis in Miami on Netflix, and now he's going to fight, instead of having a fake fight, basically, I don't want to say fake fight, but an exhibition against 135 pounds, but now he's going to fight a heavyweight in a real fight, and it's a bout that was in talks earlier this year. And look, I know that it's a major business, but still got to give Jake Paul major props, right? He's fighting Anthony Joshua. We saw what Joshua did to the last non-world-class boxer he faced, which was Francis Ngannou, and flattened him in 2 rounds last year. So I think it's fascinating.
Eddie Hearn explains that the financial offer placed before Anthony Joshua is simply too huge to refuse, especially at this point in his career. Joshua has already achieved nearly everything a heavyweight can accomplish. So accepting a high-paying matchup becomes a strategic move rather than a desperate one. Hearn points out that prize fighting has always centered on earnings as well as legacy. And when a fighter receives a massive sum for a contest he can manage without taking on...
And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up, and it's looking very likely for...
He needed a massive name to rescue the event, and he targeted the biggest, most stunning option he could imagine. It was a move fueled by pure boldness, and for a moment, it appeared that it might actually come together. Speculation swirled around names like Ryan Garcia and Francis Ngannou, but those rumors were dismissed by the fighters themselves. However, the Anthony Joshua story came from one of boxing's most credible reporters, Mike Coppinger, with concrete details about timing and location. So the chances of this being more than speculation were high.
Anyone to fight now.
Yeah,
Francis Ngannou, Ryan Garcia, AJ.
We're hearing AJ again.
Yeah.
Maybe Eddie Hearn would have to, just admit defeat and say, fine, it happens on Netflix. But it's an absolute king's ransom.
It's yeah. Oh,
it's a king's ransom.
Yeah, it's... If I'm AJ... I remember saying at the time, like, don't do it, it's rubbish, doesn't help your career. Ade, shut up. You're getting gifted 70, 80 million for a sparring session.
And it would do whatever views Tank Davis versus Jake Paul does, triple them for AJ.
It would do bigger than Canelo Crawford.
I do. I know what it would do bigger
I think
than
it'd be, yeah, I think it'd do bigger than
Absolutely,
Canelo
it would do
Crawford.
much bigger.
Yeah, because every single man, woman, child over here will watch it. It's on
Everyone
Netflix.
over here would watch it. The fact that it's a heavyweight, it's not a lightweight.
Yeah, it's a
People in
fight he's
America would
supposed
be
to
like,
lose. Because everyone wants to see Jake Paul get chinned, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's ultimately
Yeah,
what we're going to
literally,
say.
that's what everyone wants to
So
see.
there'll be a queue of people queuing up with their Netflix account, just waiting to see if this big monster can chin him.
Yeah, I've spoken to Nikisa a few times on it. I mean, there's nothing to report to you that it's close or, there's a lot of hoops to jump through. Of course, AJ is exclusive to DAZN. We also work very closely with His Excellency, and although we have no contract with him, we're in talks for big fights next year.
Francis Ngannou, the former MMA heavyweight champion turned boxer, once fought Anthony Joshua and suffered a brutal knockout. This proved Joshua's power is real and that his heavyweight ringcraft is not a coincidence. Jake Paul held discussions about fighting Ngannou, which was already a bold idea considering Francis's dangerous reputation.
But we're not really interested in waiting until 2016. And we're certainly not basing our career around a potential fight with Jake Paul. But if we were offered it, why not? I mean, it would be such an easy night's work, and it would be massive. And Jake's smart. Look, I know that we have our back and forth. Jake's improving as a fighter, and you have to respect the fact that he's dedicated not just to the business, but also to the hard graft of boxing. I still don't think he's particularly good, but he's a decent, some level fighter. But he's crazy. At first, I always felt that Jake was just using these people's names. I think he's got that many people around him that I wouldn't be surprised if he thinks he's got a chance against Anthony Joshua. Jake, I watched him, Jake. You'll knock him out. Yeah. It's like, but, there's a difference between fighting Gervonta Davis, even Canelo Alvarez, and then fighting AJ. The other two you can get just humiliated and schooled and beaten up a little bit. The other one you can be fully decapitated in. So you've got to be careful and you've got to be smart. And I know you want the money, I know you want the big moments, but this ain't a game.
Former cruiserweight world champion Tony Bellew has also discussed how big a factor this could become. Eubank is a very capable athlete and truly lives the lifestyle, Bellew believes, but recovery matters and his body endured hell that night. Bellew pointed out that Eubank's hospital visit after the first fight wasn't solely about rehydration. It was also about the punches he absorbed. He took more damage.
Well, Anthony Joshua was talking about wanting warm-up fights before going into bigger fights, but look, it's prize fighting at the end of the day, and the way that Joshua will see it and Matchroom and all the team, the fans won't like this, by the way.
I don't like it
No,
either.
I don't like it either. But the way that Joshua will see it is as a money grab. He'll see it as an easy money grab, but at this stage of his career, is it a fight he should be taking? Nah, definitely not.
I don't want to see a man decapitated in Miami in a ring in December.
Listen, and that's what will happen.
14 months ago, he got beaten up by Daniel Dubois. He's been away from the ring for ages. Now he's stepping in against a YouTuber who's probably wouldn't even win a southern area title. This affects his leg.
Tony Bellew, former WBC cruiserweight world champion and now a boxing analyst, publicly expressed strong disapproval of the matchup. Bellew said, "I won't believe this until they are in."
It's just a gross mismatch.
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand his health is in jeopardy. So, I'm not even entertaining it. I just think it's dangerous. And listen, I might have to work it, but it's just...
It's kind of ludicrous, isn't it, really?
It's insane. This boy is nuts. He's nuts, and I think he's putting his life before he's putting his life before money.
Yeah, it's
putting money before his life, which is just absolutely insane.
This suggests that although Eubank is determined, there is a limit to what his team is willing to risk. Hearn predicts that deep into the later rounds, there could be conversations behind the scenes about whether to let Eubank continue, creating a psychological layer to the matchup.
I don't know if you've seen this fight's in the works, Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul. As a Brit, how do you evaluate?
I've just seen that. Someone just told me about that. That's mad. Fair play to Jake Paul, first of all, for taking it. But if Asia doesn't knock him out in like 1-2 rounds, then I feel like the fight must be fixed or something, because I'm going Anthony Joshua, obviously, for the KO. So yeah, when is it? You know?
It's going to be next month. They're working towards.
Oh yeah, sick. Yeah, I'm going AJ for the win.
David Haye talks about how unpredictable boxing can be and warns that even though Joshua is the clear favorite, anything can happen once the fight starts. He acknowledges the danger Paul faces but also notes that fighters must never overlook opponents regardless of experience. Haye says Joshua must stay focused and avoid assuming the fight will be up.
He took a year out. Easy fight for him. And I think this should be laid to rest because I don't think AJ's going to go in and try and pat. AJ's going to smoke him.
Could AJ finish this in a round if he wanted to?
Depends. We'll see. But I will say this to AJ. Don't let that guy knock you out because that will be fucking nightmares forever. But one or two. Put it this way. AJ has to kill him in 3 rounds.
Eubank himself is completely clear about the stakes. He's already planning beyond Ben. He told Sky Sports, "It's a big fight, and it's one I'm watching closely because after I deal with Conor Ben for the second time, either Canelo Alvarez or Terence Crawford, I'd love to share the ring with them in 2026.
Give a little opinion on everything I've been seeing on social media lately. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. Just wanted to come in here and remind everybody that that bum couldn't beat me when I basically had a broken hand. I had one hand and he still lost. Jake Paul, I'm still your daddy, and everybody weighing this fight up, don't bother because he ain't worth a shilling. And the loss will always be there, Mr. Paul. Take it easy and have a good day."
He is framing this fight as both a legacy moment and a stepping stone. Eubank wants the biggest, most high-profile fights in the sport, and he's signaling that Ben is simply a step on the path. He also wants the rivalry finished decisively. "Any type of significant victory and I don't see a trilogy," he said. But who knows? It could be another fight of the year contender and then we might have to do it again. My job is to go out there and take this guy out.
There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look. Bit chubby, bit bull.
Eubank Jr.'s side is fully loaded. Bomac's strategy and experience, Eubank's own confidence and conditioning, and everything learned from the first fight give him the advantage in preparation and mindset. Ben's path is narrower. He must follow
AJ to get a warm-up fight in, so to speak, and make a bundle of money doing it in a high-profile event. I think it's a win-win.
If he's wrong, his credibility suffers a massive blow. On the other side stands Eddie Hearn, a master promoter who may be engaging in damage control after an overwhelmingly negative public response. Or perhaps he's simply trying to shut down a story that leaked before the deal was finalized. The question lingers, who is telling the truth? In the end, the chaos surrounding this reported fight exposes one startling reality. Whether it happens or not, is it actually a real possibility? Is it a clever publicity stunt? The question is no longer whether these bizarre crossover events will continue, but how far they are willing to go. So that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss our future uploads. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned, and we'll catch you in the next video.